I'm excited to be joined by Mr. Larry Chapman. He's an IT infrastructure manager from TrueSource Labs in Austin, Texas. Is that right, Larry?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
So, we want to talk a little bit today about TrueSource Labs and what you all are doing with software-defined storage. So, first off, why don't you just tell us a little bit about TrueSource Labs? What do you all do?
So, TrueSource Labs is it's a tier 2, tier 3 kind of service center for IoT. That's where we really started. I have some big anchor clients in the IoT space. We also have Apple Service Desk or Enterprise Service Desk where somebody gets deployed a new Macintosh. We build the management system for all the devices we use, Jamf, Casper Suite. And so we can push out profiles and we can help customers if they can't print or they have an issue like that. TrueSource Labs was just voted the fastest growing company in Austin and all of Central Texas. So we've experienced hyper growth, and so we've had some pain points. And so I was looking for some solutions to try and fix some of that.
Awesome. So a really fast-growing company. Mac support is cool. I don't know of a lot of companies that do that. But Internet of Things, IoT, is really cutting edge to me in my mind. I mean, that was covered in the keynote today. So very cool, and you guys are really growing quickly from that. So I wanted to ask you. I know you started recently at the company about a year and a half ago. Tell me about what it was like when you first came into the company. What was the infrastructure like?
So the infrastructure in a hyper-growth situation is you get a customer, you get another customer, you just keep adding switches to the infrastructure. So there was a single point of failure, which they brought me in to resolve. They had one big server, no shared storage, a couple of core routers and just a bunch of switches, a flat network. And so basically, we were growing so fast, we were opening a new facility, and I kind of designed a network with my network engineer, my boss, that was redundant, that would give us everything that we need, as a company. And so after I kind of put it down on paper, then I started looking at vendors. And so what I found was the traditional route, just buy another server and buy a shared storage. That solution wasn't really scalable for us. I couldn't stamp out call centers all over the world using that solution because the box itself, is $60,000, $70,000. So I was looking at hyper-converged infrastructure. I looked at some hardware-based companies. I looked at software-based companies. And really the total cost of ownership is what drove my decision. I chose Maxta as a big player in the software, hyper-converged software-defined storage. And so anyway, I'm a engineer at heart, and so I want to buy my own servers. If Dell, it's the end of the quarter, end of the year for Dell, I can get a good price, or I can go to HP when it's good for them to get a good price. So I didn't really want to be locked into, buying one type of server or the other type of server. Servers are commodity hardware now. You refresh them every 3 years, and so that's just a known cost that you have to accrue. And so the software-defined storage really allowed me to be able to replicate all my VMs at all my sites. But I have very few applications I'm serving, but I have a lot of monitoring and stuff. And so with the Maxta solution, I can lose a server, I can lose a couple of hard drives, and it just keeps running. So I can schedule my downtime, my maintenance. It's really, really nice. It's helped us tremendously at the company.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So just talking about hyperconvergence for a second, you mentioned kind of the appliance-based companies, and you said what you didn't care about with them was that they required you to buy the hardware essentially from them.
Correct. You're locked into a box, and anytime you add a box in your network, you have the cost of the box, which is pretty high.
They set the price for that.
$50,000, $60,000. And then you have to license the box, and then you have to buy software maintenance for the box, and which is it's a fine ecosystem if you're into that, which I'm really not. And so basically, if I were to upgrade my system, I'd have to buy a new box. I'd have to buy more licensing. I'd have to, probably have storage engineers or somebody else on staff. I mean, we run a really, really tight ship at TrueSource Labs, and I'm centralized with all the engineering resources. And so adding a box did not really make sense for us.
Absolutely, yeah. So with Maxta's solution, you could use a server perhaps that you already had.
Sure.
Or you could just pick whatever server you want to use that year.
So Maxta has a solution where they'll sell you a box, but I like to buy my own boxes. So
right.
So it was really easy. They wanted to know what kind of controller card it had and make sure it was fast enough. And then they recommended certain drives that I use. So I picked all my own hardware, I bought my servers. The thing that I heard about software only kind of plays in this field was that it was really difficult to set up. And so in my experience, they send you a pre-installed checklist. You look at the checklist, it's just basically all your IPs for all your different hosts that you're going to have. And you fill it out, and they check it, and they make sure it's right. And when you go to the install process, it's just that. It's like 3 screens with all the information you've already filled out, and you just make sure that it's correct, hit the last button, and it takes about 40 minutes, and Maxta is deployed and operational.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's like deploying a virtual appliance in vSphere, and they kind of helped walk you through the process.
Yeah,
is that right?
Exactly. It rides on top of VMware. It's got a great interface. It gives me all kinds of info on the storage that I have, but it shares the storage from all 3 of my servers. So if I lose a server, it's over here. Using high availability and vMotion, it'll migrate the servers for me, and then I can schedule downtime to replace memory or whatever failed on that server.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I know you were talking about how you're deploying this similar solution around the world. Is that true?
Yeah, so we have offices. We have 2 offices in Austin, Texas that are both pretty big call centers, about 400 to 500 seat call centers. But we also have a call center in Limerick, Ireland.
Wow.
And that covers kind of the overnight kind of shift for us. So 24 hours a day, we've got that covered. I think we're gonna open up another location in Alpine, Texas. There's a great college out there that we think we can get some good talent from. So we're growing, and the Maxta solution is easy. It's simple. I can stamp it out 100 times, and then it works.
Excellent. And I guess kind of the last question I wanted to ask you about is applications. Like, what kind of applications do you run on Maxta? Have you had any trouble with, well, this application doesn't work on hyperconvergence? Or?
Yeah, no, there's really no legacy applications that I run that's had any issue. We run PBX and some other applications, but we have not had one issue with Maxta on running any of our OVF templates or anything that we have. So
okay,
it's really good.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your story today, Larry, about Maxta's software-defined storage solution. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.